and I don't know. Like, for instance, she was commenting on what hairstyle she could wear because certain hairstyles were too black, right? That's something, even if you heard that, it's something, even from his stance, he can't really say because he's a bald black guy. And I know Howard Stearns came out and said some shit about how it's a boys club and this, that, and the other. To jump with what you said, I think that initially when Terry Crews was asked the question, I think his response should have just been better. He shouldn't be like, I back her up with all the allegations and things that's happening. If she needs help or she needs anything, she could call on me. But from my standpoint, I didn't experience what, some of the stuff that she's stating. And that's all he had to say.
And that literally could have been it.
Yeah, and he moved on. He would have kept them happy, and he would have did what he needed to do. But he wanted to make sure those checks kept coming. So he's like, man, I don't see shit, man. They were good, man. You know how much money they give me? They feed me every damn day. Yo, that black man, they saw a black guy on the streets and they gave him a big paycheck. I don't know what she talking about. I got them cheeseburgers, man.
All the while smelling like Old Spice.
So I agree.
We play Crackdown 3.
Oh man.
Ashtray, bitch.
Welcome everybody to Shoot This Shit podcast. I'm your host, Khan, and as always with me, I have my co-host, Mr. Two Beards. What's up, sir?
Howdy.
Howdy. And as I stated last week, we got let me rephrase that. We don't have a new guest. We have a reoccurring guest, somebody who's been there before. What's up, Rokku?
What's going on?
Oh, what's up, everybody? Saturday night, a little different than our normal Friday night podcast, but I think it'll work out. And before we go into our something different where we start doing a quick monologue, I want to give a real quick shout out to the Douglas family. Kirk Douglas, actor, pioneer, died at 103 about 2 days ago. Long life, nothing to really be sad about. He had 103 years on this earth, put out some great movies, gave us Michael Douglas, who also put out some great movies. Shout out to the Douglas family, and anything by anybody else who wants to say anything positive to the Douglas family itself for their loss.
Rest in peace and my condolences.
Got nothing to say. Rest in peace.
Awesome. So, Mr. Two Beards, how about you kick us off, sir? What do you want to start off with in terms of addressing our wonderful audience?
Not much. I'll just say hello, ladies and gents. We thank you for hanging out with us today, taking a breather of all the craziness from the world, from everything from the impeachment trial to its fallout, from taking a breather to seeing the Democrats fight each other like a pack of wolves over a scrap of meat. It's all very entertaining stuff. We thank you for taking a breather from everything to with all the regulations being rolled back to the point of the CDD said that we won't know if, I said CDC, but I meant the FDA said that we won't even be able to, we have to call pork mystery meat soon, because we won't even know what's in it. So thank you for taking the breather from that. Also, thank you for taking the breather to chill with us on Black History Month, the month of Kings and Queens, our month. The month that they teach you the same shit from kindergarten to 12th grade without teaching you other stuff or the other things that we've done in this country and beyond this country. To the same country that's now teaching kids that being a slave meant you were even an indentured servant, an immigrant, or it was voluntary. So we thank you for coming out on this month, chilling with us, putting all the bullshit to the side, taking a breather, having some fun and some laughs with us. And let's get on with the show.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Anything to add to that, Rokku?
I was just going to take and say, just for the record, if last time I checked, there was one particular person that made that slip up when it came down to saying that we were immigrants.
Oh, okay.
And that's just because they were trying to push that whole agenda with the border wall situation. So I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna leave that one there. It's like, no, maybe her parents were immigrants, but last time I checked, we were prisoners of war. So let's just keep it there.
Awesome. So we're going to, instead of going into our normal topics that we usually do, we're going to do a real quick update. So anything that we kind of covered in terms of topics, whenever there's an update, we're going to go over them real quickly in this update section. So the first one is one, I don't believe you were on, Rokku. I think it was the episode after you, but me and Two Beers covered Gritty, the very scary mascot of the Flyers, who had an accusation for him for basically running and Superman punching a kid in his back. The police said they concluded their investigation and no charges were pulled against Gritty, as Mr. Two Beers actually predicted. And he's cleared of all charges. So, Mr. Two Beers, any comments? I'll start off with you with Gritty being free.
All I'm going to say is we know this is probably the case. It's no way that, even though the funny thing is, even though it seems completely in the nature of not only a Philadelphia native, but a mascot named Gritty, to actually run up and punch a kid in the back, we knowing that there's no way that at an autograph and photo signing that he's going to be able to run up and do something like that if all those people are around and there was no witnesses except for the father and the kid himself.
Exactly.
The father wasn't going to go around and continue at the place and take pictures with other people, including uploading the picture of Gritty and his son on the social media. Like, you're not going to upload a picture of a mascot who just punched your kid in the back. So we all know it was bullshit from the jump. So now Gritty has been cleared. Awesome.
Yeah, you could go back to scaring kids now.
Yes, he can.
Anything to add to this, Rokku?
As a mascot for the team that was known as the Broad Street Bullies, I 100% believe it as a Philly native. Like, Philly is my hometown, born and raised, and I lived there. I had lived there for about 20 some odd years. I 100% believe it if it did happen. It's like, I wouldn't even put it past. As a matter of fact, I'm like, look, that's par for the course. You in Philly, you should know better.
Yo, my dude, Gritty is scary. Oh, it's like just even thinking that. Imagine that in your head, Gritty just running, to punch a kid in the back. It's beautiful.
Hey, look, the Philly Fanatics have been known, jokingly at least, sexually assaulting people. You can't put that snaz in people's faces and not expect. So come on, man.
Oh man. All right, yeah. So we'll move from Gritty, and next thing we'll move to one that actually Rokku was on. So Tyler Perry's Fall of Grace has come out on Netflix, and it has been watched by 26 million people, folks. 26 million people have watched Fall for Grace. And just to put it into perspective, basically it's pretty much the same numbers as Bird. What was that movie? Birdcage or Bird? The one where they, the
Bird
one where
Box.
Bird Box. Yes, the one where what's her face had to keep her eyes covered. So needless to say, it did very, very well. So I'll go with you, Rokku. Any comments on Tyler Perry's Fall of Grace and it being so successful?
I mean, look, it's a Tyler Perry, production. I mean, I expect there to be quite a few people that will check it out. Like, look, I gave him a hard time last time, and I'm not backtracking on that. I still feel the same way. I feel so there's 26 million people that should have been watching Bad Boys 3, but hey, it's like at least on that week. But I mean, look, I'll reserve my final judgment until I take a look at it in passing at some point. So I mean, I'll say congratulations to him for apparently knocking it out the box. Pun intended with the whole Bird Box thing. When it comes down to that 26 million views that first week, I mean, it even beat out Ava DuVernay's when they see us. So I mean, hey, it's He's got an audience.
Oh, that's
Yep, and the Irishman,
Why
too.
hear that? That's fucking awful. No, that's fucking terrible. I'm sorry. Yo.
Hey, I am happy if any of us succeed. I'm happy at it. Go ahead, Two Beers, but I know why you want to. I know. Go ahead. You're probably commenting on the Ashtray bitch line that everybody's playing. Go ahead, continue.
You need to play that shit right now so people can see it. Yo, like I haven't watched it yet, and I was gonna go in completely with eyes open because I'm like, I really haven't seen anything of his work that I've actually enjoyed. But at the same time, I had massive respect for the man, everything he's accomplished in the in Hollywood, and to the point, as you brought up yourself multiple times, he has a studio. He's made a black-owned studio now that's so big that other studio production houses come and shoot on it. That is that's a milestone. So like but dog, that fucking clip. Yo. Ashtray. like yo, the fuck, like that. And then it's like when I started seeing pictures of the costume he's wearing, the fucking wool wig and the beard. I know he's got more money than that for better outfits and makeup and shit. Like I don't know. Like I'm gonna watch it because I think I'm gonna find it completely hilarious for all the wrong reasons. But yo, the clips that I've seen so far, they have made it look beyond bad. And
so
like, the fact that
go ahead.
Before we continue, the fact that something like that got outdid When They See Us, and that's in the Irishman. I don't know where we're at as a people, man. I don't know why we put so much money into this bullshit. But I'm continuing.
All right. So first off, I did watch the movie, and yeah. So something that people have to understand: the reason why Tyler Perry has so many movies, and I guess he's so big, is because I didn't know, but he literally completes movies within like a week or 2 weeks. Literally, he does full production of movies within like a 2-week span. So that's why you don't see always the best acting, but it allows him to churn out so much content for so much other stuff that he could just produce like stuff like everywhere, right? So was the movie the greatest? No. I'll as per Two Beers, let me real quickly, let's swap over and let's play the Ashtray bitch scene so he can see this real quick. All right, let's swap over.
Ashtray. Ashtray, bitch!
And he wouldn't leave.
Oh.
And he would leave. Oh, Ashtray
bitch.
Oh man.
Fuck, man.
But as I told Two Beards, it could always be worse, right? It could always be worse, right? It could be the Oval. And I showed him the Oval, and overall, I don't know. Have you seen the Oval, Rokku?
No, it sounds like it's something I'm gonna have to check out.
It's this. I gotta show everybody the sequence in the Oval. It is the worst, and I don't want to be down on. I want to say congrats to Tyler Perry, and I keep telling Two Beards, sis, there's an audience for this kind of stuff, right? It may not be the best, but there's, 26 million views. It tells you that there's an audience who likes this stuff. It doesn't have to be. I know I would want it to be cutting edge, but it doesn't have to be. It's. He has an audience. He has an audience for this. He has an audience for it. So it is what it is. Oh God!
I didn't even try.
Oh man! Like I said, there's an audience. There unfortunately is an audience for all this stuff, but yeah. And that's actually one of his biggest shows, believe it or not, which is crazy. But people love that Ratchet stuff, right? All right, so I know. So I guess we should.
See the expression of if you can see the expression of my face right now.
So God. So the last one we were going to cover, and this is the last one, which is one that actually me and Two Beers covered, was we did a look at Oprah Winfrey, and basically, does she have an agenda against African American males, right? Because a lot of times Oprah, a lot of pieces she does is always against African American males and never against like Caucasian or other ethnicities, right? Especially when it comes to sexual assault. So Snoop Dogg came out, and of course he was jumping on Gayle Kim for an interview with Lisa Leslie talking about Kobe Bryant, and it seemed like she was pushing the rape agenda in that interview. And then Snoop was upset, and then I guess he went after Oprah too, talking about how showing pictures about how she's hanging out with Weinstein and all this, and he did all of his stuff. So how did you feel about, I guess, basic Snoop Dogg? I think it was good until he started bringing up Bill Cosby, but go ahead, Two Beers. What were your thoughts on Snoop Dogg's comments towards Oprah and Gayle King?
I think he's bringing up a point that does need to be addressed. I don't like the I don't think he needed to call her I don't think he needed to call her a bitch. I also don't think he needed to threaten her. But like I do feel that when it comes to black men, I feel that because of Oprah's past, which I brought up to you before, because of the time she was raped and her drug addiction and things of that nature, I do feel that she has it out for black men. She projects that on. So like she's never healed from it. So any chance she has to like dogpile on to us and project that pain, I think she's going to do it each and every time. Because there's some truth to his words. There's no documentary on people like Weinstein. There's no documentary on Epstein or any of the people, or even like, for instance, the seventh heaven guy, who that wasn't even an allegation. Like, he's actually on tape admitting to what he did, and like and not only did that guy not do any time, his show stayed in syndication, so he was able to still eat and collect royalties off of that. So I do feel that he's actually making a good point about saying that she's only attacking men of color, but at the same time, I do feel that he didn't have to threaten her or call her that word, especially when she came out later.
I agree.
Especially when Gayle basically came out later to say she was upset about the clip that the studio released because it made it seem like that was what the interview was about, and and saying that the whole thing was cut and chopped up and stuff like that. It's like it wasn't even that type of vibe that the clip gives off, basically. So yeah. I thought that was pretty fucked up on their end. But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Okay, Rokku, I agree with you, by the way, Two Beards. Rokku?
I'm gonna take and say, as far as a lot of that stuff goes, like, when it comes down to Oprah, look, you can tell she eating good off them butter biscuits. So I mean,
wow.
So I mean,
wow.
It's like, hey, I'm gonna call it how it is. You know, that's her thing. Like, she's pushing for the people who are gonna make sure she can keep a job, because realistically speaking, if they decided they can pull Harvey Weinstein's card and all these other guys, they can take her down too. So she's doing what she's doing in her best interest, as far as I can tell.
So are you saying that like she's turning the other cheek because she has dirt on her hands also? Is that where you're getting at?
I'm saying that that's probably part of it. It's like,
interesting.
right now, it's very easy for a lot of people to take and stay in a positive light, especially when you look at the number of people who are being knocked off when it comes down to, how can I put it? Like, how can I put it? Let's just say try to take and pull attention away from people who are actually guilty of things by putting a black face in front of it.
Okay.
And when you have a black face that you can use as a pawn to take and send that message, it works doubly so, because now you're spitting on your own.
I feel you.
So she gets to act like a good little mammy, and everybody else.
Damn.
Hey.
Wow.
Hey.
Wow.
Damn, bro, you about to say Ashtray?
I mean, look, all it takes is for somebody to bring up all of that stuff that was going on with her schools in South Africa, over in Africa, with the, and then she's got a problem. So let's just, she's doing what she's doing just because it's in her best interest to try to toe that line.
Interesting.
Very interesting take.
And on the screen for those who are in chat, for just a quick reminder, we do normally tape Friday. I know it's Saturday, but we normally do tape Friday 10 p.m. Eastern to whenever we close. Come join the chat. It's a little bit more interactive every Friday. But in chat, I have it up there where Snoop Dogg has this IG post. Says, did that fake-ass Michael Jackson shit to tarnish his name with them lying-ass kids? And here she is with a known rapist smiling and laughing. Fuck you and Gail. And, of course, the free Bill Cosby part. But I agree with you. In the most part, 2 beers, I stated that threatening of Gail Kim was a low blow on Snoop. I understand he was pissed. The dude just died, and he's looking at, everything, the way it was portrayed in terms of the Kobe interview. Like, she had an agenda to push out the rape allegations more so than, the accolades and things he actually did for his family and so forth during that time. The thing on Oprah, I take the same stance. I don't know. Like, Oprah is the face that, like, everybody seems to go to. It's like, oh, yeah, we could all trust Oprah. And I often said if she, like, ran for president, like, in a year, she will probably win because she could get votes from every demographic because most of these people all love Oprah, right? She has that presence, and she has that I won't say agenda, what would I say, is the reputation that people see from her talk shows and all the other charities and things that she does. But
she has a very important factor, which is charisma.
Yes So I don't know, maybe Rokku might have something to the point of maybe there might be more behind it, in terms of, hey, we want to give you checks, or we want to keep you famous in the front line or whatever, just push this, instead of this. So maybe, I don't know. But I mean, from like, even with this point of her taking pictures here with Weinstein, it seemed like the whole Weinstein thing was known, like, even from the beginning, from the get-go. People of him touching and doing all kinds of stuff to women, and people just knew about it. But he was just a powerful figure at that time that no one could touch him. It was like, well, do you want to work in Hollywood or do you want to starve, right? You got to make that line, pull that line of what you want to do. Or, what, I'll do it this one night and I'll make my money and be big and I won't have to deal with it for the rest of my life, just to kind of move past it. So if he has that reputation and everybody knows about this reputation, and you see these kind of pictures, it kind of puts a different light. Like, how do you not know? If you're in the end of Hollywood, how do you not know when it's all over, Hollywood itself, when everybody and their mom is saying it? Go ahead, Rokku.
I was gonna say, with some of the pictures and stuff like that, and I do want to step back on the Gayle King thing too, because I want to say, when it comes down to that, before I jump back on that, finish up with the that Oprah point that I was starting to take and jump into, I don't know, that seemed a little too convenient that she was able to just throw the network under the bus like that. It's like, at almost no time has that ever been possible for anybody doing any kind of interviews, like stuff like that, to go, oh, well, I didn't know what the network was going to do. Like, wait a minute, how did you get away with throwing the network under the bus?
I can't.
Like you literally, it's like that makes it look suspect in and of itself. That she knew what she was doing. She picked that fight.
I can buy that to an extent, and like the reason why I say I can buy that is because we live in the age where everything is clickbait. Like there's so much stuff where like whenever they post a clip out of an interview, whenever they title an article, it's always not it doesn't take it's not the actual energy of the whatever you're about to read or review, and that like seems to happen like all the time. So it's like so yeah, you may be also be right that she's like, oh shit, this backfired, and like it may have been like, oh shit, this backfired, she's trying to save her ass by throwing the network under the bus. But at the same time, I do feel that there's a possibility that, just like the majority of shit out there, that it was just the people that are in charge of getting a good quotable or a good soundbite to throw out there, something spicy to get people actually want to come to the interview. I do feel
that's definitely
did it.
It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. But I would also gonna say, like, just to finish up that one, I give credit to Lisa Leslie for staying on point.
Oh hell yeah,
because she definitely like tried to diffuse that before it got anywhere. But to go back to the Oprah thing with the Harvey Weinstein stuff that you were just bringing up, Con, is like it had to be known, because it seemed some of that stuff looked like, it almost looked like Oprah was setting some of those people up.
Oh man!
Like almost like she was wingmanning for Harvey Weinstein. Damn. You've seen the pictures. You've seen the pictures. I mean, come on.
Oh man!
Oh my god!
Oh.
Maverick the Goose.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
All right, we're gonna move actually to our first topic, which is gaming. Oh man, I always get a little shaky when it comes to gaming, because me and Two Beers always get in these long conversations, right? So first subject is let's talk about Sony, right? So Sony is basically delaying any solid information as a tactical strategy for the PlayStation 5. They're not really releasing any of the specs, what it looks like, even the price. They said themselves, they stated they won't even release the price until Microsoft basically says the price of the Series X, most likely, so they get undercut it. I'll start with you, Rokku, on this one. Do you approve of Sony's tactics of delaying as much information basically to the last until basically when the system comes out for the PlayStation 5?
I didn't think that Sony was going to Square Enix themselves, but apparently.
Wow.
I mean, look. I mean, if you're not ready to take and talk about it, why are you talking about it? That's kind of where I am with that. Like, it's. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I remember seeing a press doc somewhere on some website. I could have swore I saw something talking about the PlayStation 5 price point or ideal price point at like $499 or something like that. So it's like, I wish I could remember where I saw it, because I would gladly point it out to you right now. But it's one of those things where it's like, people already have a rough idea of what they're going to do. So for them to sit here and try to act, something, like they're being like top secret about it just doesn't really make much sense. I mean, they should just put out what information they're willing to give, instead of just trying to, and because they can always change it later. I mean, you can always upgrade things. You can always, downplay. Just don't give anything that would lock them in. That's all.
Interesting. And I'll go to you, Two Beers, because this is all very interesting, because with any new system, you have to have a time where you have to start production, right? If you don't start production on the system, then you start getting shortages by the time the system comes out. So things have to be somewhat final, especially if you're going to go to production. What's your take on this strategy and this information?
I personally don't think it's a good strategy, but at the same time, like, who am I to say that? Because it's been a winning strategy for them for quite some time. Like, they'll lay back, they'll see what the competition puts out, and if it's something that's applauded by people, then they'll be like, oh, well, you'll be happy to know that our system does that as well. Like for instance, they have no problem with announcing that the PS5 will have backwards compatibility. But for everything else, just like I hate to pull a YouTuber and go back to the disastrous launch of the Xbox One in 2013. The Xbox One, its launch was so shitty that Sony being quiet on how they were doing things, they're like, yo, we can attack the fuck out of this. Like even the little joke of the guy handing his game to his friends, like that's how you share a game with friends.
True.
Yeah. So it's like I feel they're just doing the same thing now, where they're like they're waiting if the Xbox actually is stronger than if the Series X is actually stronger than the PS5 in any neighborhood, this also allows them to get their talking points together on how they'll get around that, and any other thing of like, oh, people are not responding to that well, so even if our system does the same thing, we can just leave it out. So basically, they're just playing wait and counter like they normally do. It's worked for them up until now, even though it may seem kind of weaselish or whatever. It's a great business strategy. So I guess they're just keep doing it.
Interesting. I agree with both of you, but I think it's a risky tactic, especially
Very.
All right, because E3 is coming around, right? And you have to start taking pre-orders for these systems, right? And people who do pre-orders have to know what the system's coming out at, right? How much am I paying? What am I getting? What do I need? What are the games? Go ahead.
You just brought up a good point. I think one of the reasons why they aren't showing at E3, and why they will probably make their if they don't make their big showing at at Tokyo Game Show, they'll probably do it at a PlayStation live event. I think they know because Microsoft will probably do the whole unveil at E3 this year. If they're not there, this will probably allow them to get every piece of info and intel that they need, like including the price of what the system's going to be. Like
that is true.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I was going to say. Sorry. I was just going to say it was because that they're going to be at E3 that I was kind of figuring it's like it really doesn't make sense to take and be super secretive. It's like, okay, if you don't want to take and talk about it yet, then don't even bring it up. That's kind of where I'm at with that one. It's like it would play more into the whole idea of, all right, well, if we're gonna keep our cards close to our chest and keep them close to your chest, like don't even bring it up. I was like, so just wait till Microsoft says what they're going to say and then drop all your information right after, and nobody would say anything. But right now, because they're where they're doing it, it looks shiesty.
I wouldn't even be surprised if they dropped like a video, even though they're not at E3. I wouldn't even be surprised if they dropped the video production package like an hour after Microsoft show on the same night. Like I would not be surprised at all.
So I think you bring up a good point. So I want to counter it with this. If you're Microsoft, right, and we know Microsoft right now has more money in the tank than Sony, right? They could lose money with how well, as we brought up in the past, their cloud services like Azure and Windows and all their other services that they do are doing well, while Sony movies and their other products aren't as high. I mean, they're going up, don't get me wrong, from year to year, but they're not raking in as much money as they used to. If you're Microsoft, would you then sell your Xbox Series X at a price that Sony can't undercut? So let's say
fuck yeah,
it comes out at $350 or $300.
Fuck yeah, take a $200 to $300 loss on the system. Your pockets can afford it. Like really cement that shit in.
All right, Rokku, what do you say?
I 100% agree with that one. That's look, as someone who has run with Sony pretty much since after the original Xbox, because I never went to Xbox 360. That whole Ring of Death thing scared me away.
That's fine.
And I just never really saw a point in going to Xbox with the Xbox One. So I was just like, I just stuck with PlayStation. But for business, yeah, if I could take the hit and undercut, my competitor, at least for this next generation, I'm doing it. I'm doing it without a second thought.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it would be brilliant if Microsoft said, you know what, everybody, we thanks to all the people who support Microsoft. How about this? We give it to you right now, special price for at least 2 years or a year. You could get the Xbox Series One X for $300. Or if you have an Xbox Series, Xbox X or X1X or regular Xbox, mail it in and we'll give it to you for even a lower price. I mean, it's a good strategy that Microsoft could do to get their new systems out to a lot of people. Yeah, they take a hit in the beginning, but in the long run, I think it'll be more beneficial to them.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, because I don't think that I personally think with the level of technology that's in these new systems, I don't think that Sony could drop it. I think the lowest Sony would be able to do is $399, if that. I don't think they can go lower than that.
Okay, that makes sense. I was thinking about $400 for the new systems.
Yep. Yeah, because everybody thinks it's going to be a $499 price point, which it may very well be, because it used the original rumors were the Xbox Series X was going to drop at $499, and the PS5 was going to drop at $399. But I do feel that. But then as we got later and later on, it started seeming we started getting more and more, including from places that in other countries that put the PS5 up for pre-order by accident, of them having a $499 price tag before being taken down. So, but I do feel that if the Series X can come out at $299 would be ridiculously amazing, but if they can at least come out at $350, I think that will give them a price edge over Sony.
Cool. All right, let's go to our next topic. I think we're in agreement with that one. Let's talk Microsoft for a second. And so,
oh boy.
So, oh man, you're a funny guy. So, a actual article came up on The Verge where they were interviewing Phil Spencer, and they asked him basically about the new technology and competition. To which Phil Spencer stated, and let me switch over so we could get a nice quote of it. It says, when you talk about Nintendo and Sony, we have a lot of respect for them, but see Amazon and Google as the main competitors going forward, says Spencer. That's not a disrespect to Nintendo and Sony, but the traditional gaming companies are somewhat out of position. I guess they could try to recreate Azure, but we've invested tens of billions of dollars in cloud over the years. So I'm going to go with you, Two Beards. How do you feel about this statement?
I think he's speaking the truth, that he's looking towards the future, and he's actually he's doing the smart thing of trying to compete and get the company out of the console wars. There was something that was said earlier to me. Something that was said earlier to me about are they shooting themselves in the foot by talking this way, and does that make it look like they are not that they're not supporting consoles anymore, or it may come off looking that way, or they may have already shot any future sales of people who weren't already Xbox buyers, if this may have turned them away from doing that. And the way that I look at it is even if we take everything out of the package, like, I'm willing to bet that if the Xbox Series X was not a cross-generational platform, if there was no 2-year gap, if everything that came out on the Xbox Series X was going to be an exclusive just to that console, if there was if they launched it with 5 first-party games that are all AAA, they're all magnificent, I still think no matter how they do this, unless they were able to beat PS by price, I think PS's brand loyalty is still going to win them the first beginning part of the race, because that's how strong and loyal the PS fan base is at this time. The same way you can look at Apple and PC back in the day when Apple was so huge, started getting so huge that people were willing to pay 5 times the amount for an Apple laptop than they would for a PC laptop that did the same thing. So I think I think they're looking forward to hey, we can't no matter what we're doing at this moment in time, we're not going to beat Sony on the console front. So let's push forward to all these subscribers that we have for Game Pass Ultimate, all these other players that are on the PC. Let's go ahead and having our name as being known in gaming. Let's tap that PC market before Amazon or Google can get a stranglehold on it. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Okay. Before I go to Rokku, also stated by Phil Spencer, he says it isn't how many consoles you sell. He acknowledged this further by noting that Microsoft isn't interested in getting into a future format war with Nintendo and Sony. I don't want to be in a fight over format wars with those guys while Amazon and Google are focusing on how to get gaming to 7 billion people around the world, says Spencer in the Protocol interview. Ultimately, that's the goal. So that alludes to basically what you were stating. They're looking at it more of reaching people rather than fighting over who buys your device. Rokku, how do you feel about Phil Spencer's comments?
First, I would take and say, looking towards the future, it's a good play. And, but it's especially because right now as far as looking at Google and Amazon, that's no competition. That would be like a grown man going over to a playground and kicking the crap out of a 3-year-old. Like, it's not even. Yeah. It's not even a fight. I mean, and with if I'm not mistaken, part of the reason why Microsoft can say what they said, at least about Sony, is because if I'm not mistaken, in that article, we're talking about how they were starting to partner up with Sony with the Azure software as well.
That is correct.
So essentially, there's no point in even looking at them as competition if you're partnering up with them. So your competitor is now your ally. So it's kind of like, all right, well, it's now Sony and Microsoft against the 3-year-old. So it's
somebody needs to draw that.
So I mean, like, it's with the launch of Stadia being nowhere near what it needs to be. Amazon, who knows what they're doing?
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure there's at least one more out there.
The video actually looks good.
Yeah, we'll get into that next. We'll get to that next. But continue.
It's like I do have something for the NVIDIA thing, but I'll save that one for when we get to it, I guess then. But yeah, it's just not even a competition. Like right now, Microsoft is putting themselves in a position where they're taking themselves, like Two Beard said, they're taking themselves out of the console market, like focusing on software and networking or cloud-based server issues and stuff like that. So if they want to focus on that and let everybody else do the heavy lifting, it sounds like a brilliant plan to me.
Yeah, I agree.
I will give credit where credit's due.
Yep. I agree with your statements, and we know that Microsoft has been pushing cloud for a while. I remember when Titanfall 2 first came out, that was one of the big things where Microsoft was stating basically with game companies how they were setting up cloud servers that people could use for multiplayer, and it was adaptive. So if you had 1 million people, the servers would create enough VMs basically to handle the load of how many players, and if your player base started to go down, then of course it would shrink the amount of VMs needed. So it was supposed to be a smart system, and then Titanfall had the cloud where it was doing the AI for a lot of the NPCs that would jump in and they would fight you in the game itself. And then of course, oh god, I hate talking about this, but they brought in cloud for Crackdown 3. Where Crackdown 3 would do the physics rendering outside of it. Not a good example, but still, they put in for Crackdown 3. And I know their ultimate goal is definitely to go towards cloud, and that is the future. But as conversations that I had with Two Beards, it's good to look to the future, but you don't want to jump too far ahead of yourself, right? They had the idea of an all-digital system for the console when the Xbox One first came out, right? They were looking at all things, like all your applications and everything are ran digitally through your console, similar to a PC. It's just a one-button click. Everything is digital. Your system's always on. All your saves, everything is running from the cloud. Everything is good. nobody wanted to hear that back in, 2013, right? People were still buying discs. They were doing this. They weren't ready for that future, even though they knew it was the future that was to come, right? And they shot themselves in the foot talking about all this stuff and all these things, and it separated them basically from the people who wanted to basically buy their products, right? And I'm hoping that with Microsoft now, I know they're investing in cloud. They have to show to the people that they're still invested in what they're doing, right? Yeah, we're building a cloud infrastructure delivery platform for gaming, so that no matter what, as long as you've been loyal to us, you could get Xbox anywhere, right? You could get on your PC, you could get on your phone, you could get on this console. Hell, we'll put it on the Switch, we'll put it on Sony, we'll put it anywhere you could get it. I understand that's the future that they want to go to, but at the same time, you have to still have a mindset of your current fans, right? People who are going to go out and invest maybe that $300, $400, $500 on this new system because they stuck with you since the beginning. They don't want to hear a lot of this stuff, right? They want to get a new system they could play and do whatever, right? So we're not there yet in cloud gaming. As Rokku brought up, Amazon is like just a disaster. They keep bringing out games and they all flop. I don't even know what Amazon is really doing in terms of their gaming. And then you have Google, who just doesn't seem to know what Stadia is or how to even market Stadia properly. And we've went over Stadia 100 times, so I agree with Microsoft in the future and what they're setting, but I think they have to somewhat pump the brakes. We know they're getting there. You still have to put on the face to say, we're not out of console gaming yet, where you just go out and buy a machine and you just play any game, whatever you want, right? That's where gaming is going to get to. It's just going to be like a DVD box. You just buy a Sony one, Nintendo one, or whatever. Yeah, you just put it up and you get all your stuff from the cloud. It's just going to be, it won't matter, they all play the same games. It's just a source box. But before we get to that future, you got to be mindset that we're not there yet. We probably won't be there for another 5 to 10 years. So have an understanding of what your current audience really wants now and cater to them now while preparing for the future. Two Beers, you want to say something? Because I know you're itching.
No, I still feel the same way. Like I feel that I feel people need to get over themselves when it comes to certain things, and I think they need to look at it as the company's not shitting on you. They're not saying that you don't matter. They're just actually giving you a choice. Like, if you prefer to play your games a certain way, you can still play them that way. They're not throwing you out in the cold. They're not saying that you no longer matter, just giving you more options to play your games than you had before. I do think maybe, like, I'm getting that sort of vibe when they're talking about it. But because of the vibe that you have, I do feel that maybe they're not expressing it, or they're not conveying the message in the best way.
Yeah.
So maybe they need to have a better marketing strategy moving forward to actually get that out to people.
Yeah, you don't want 2013 to happen again, where you got footing and now you're shooting yourself in the foot because
Yeah, they have never let that down. We're about to actually go into a new console generation, and YouTubers are still bringing that shit up.
Yeah,
like that shit's like the golden goose egg to them. Like, just bring up 2013. I don't even care what the Microsoft news can be about. Like, they'll be like, "Yo, Microsoft just acquired." They can be like, "Microsoft just bought Square Enix, so they have access to all the Final Fantasy games." Remember when Microsoft had that 2013 launch? It was the worst of all time. I'm like, well, damn, what does that have to do with them buying Square? But yeah, that's they definitely don't want that again.
Okay, so let's move over to GeForce Now, right? So GeForce Now is basically available right now for those that's in beta. It looks amazing, where you could literally just basically link your Steam account and boop, you have access to all your games and you can play them cloud-based. And basically, like, this minimum specifications, my gosh, I can't talk, for running GeForce Now is basically you just need to have Windows 7 for those who have it, 64-bit or above, a dual-core x86 64 CPU, 2 gigahertz or faster, 4 gigs of system memory, and a GPU that at least supports DirectX 11. And that's all you need. So you could basically be playing with regular basic laptops from like 5 years ago, and you could still now start playing all these games using the actual GeForce Now. And it unlike Stadia, it actually looks like it actually works. So I'm going to go with you first, Rokku. Jabs and Stadia. I'm going to go with you, Rokku. Have we found our Stadia killer with the and GeForce NVIDIA? It's GeForce Now.
I would say it's a possibility if you can play for longer than 4 hours.
Yeah, I understand the subscription. Go ahead.
I mean, and if you're free, you might as well forget it. So it's kind of because an hour for free, 4 hours for paid, and then if you're free, you're literally at the mercy of everybody who's paying. So it doesn't matter what you have, you're just at the mercy of everybody else, depending on what service plan you're under. So it's kind of like, if you're not paying, you might as well not even look at it.
Yeah.
So I can see it being that Stadia killer. I mean, that's 100% because it seems like they're further along than Google is.
But I mean, it's pretty cheap though. I mean, $4.99 a month. I understand what you're saying with the limited hours. I don't know if this is something that they're implementing because it's in beta and they don't want to crash servers and so forth. I don't know if that's a reason and they change it later on. But I mean, it is only $4.99 a month, where Stadia was asking basically $130 plus a $9.99 subscription after the $130, which is a 3-month period, and you don't get any games. You still got to pay for games at full price and sometimes more expensive games, right? So,
but people, you have to also think is people are very fickle.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is that for those who are still have the umbilical cord attached and have cable. You have those people who would get a subscription service like HBO or Showtime or whatever, watch whatever show they wanted to watch and immediately drop it.
Yeah.
Disney went through this with Disney Plus right after The Mandalorian ended and lost X number of subscriptions because literally the vast majority of people that got it just wanted to watch The Mandalorian and did not want to take a sail into that Bay of Pirates to find it. So... so I mean, $4.99 isn't expensive, but you have some very fickle people out here, and they can look at that $4.99 and say, "Nah, I'm good."
Okay. Two beers. I want to pass it over to you. One thing I will say is this might be a good thing for Apple people who don't usually have access or usually have to do dual boots to be able to play majority of the games, as most games aren't Apple. Do you think now with the way we're going with cloud and Google Stadia is still only being with Google's products as of right now, do you think that this might be picked up more by Apple people and other, people, I guess Linux users, people who basically aren't Windows gamers?
Before I answer that question, to answer your first question on whether or not it's going to be a Stadia killer, I'm going to have to say no, because Stadia already killed itself.
Wow. Wow.
to move forward. Yeah, I think it's even with a short time that needs to be approved on. One of the things that they're smart is that even though they're charging now, they're still calling it early access and saying it hasn't launched yet. So yeah, like an hour is a very, very short amount of time to a game, but it's a nice testing point to actually allow you to test the service out and see if it actually works right for you. 4 hours isn't that long for the way people game these days, but you can get a good chunk of gaming done in 4 hours, especially if you're a business, if you're a 9-to-5er or you run your own business and you, as much as you would love the game, you don't have that much time. 4 hours is a pretty decent chunk, especially for those of us who may have to travel. Like, hey, I'm in my as long as you're in an area that has good Wi-Fi, you can just log on, continue your game from where you were at home. It's a pretty decent thing. And on top of that, another thing that they do is they actually allow you to take the games that you already own and play them over the stream, so you have cloud
Huge
saving
plus.
and everything like that.
Huge
Yeah,
plus.
so very,
that's
very,
huge.
very huge plus. So yeah, I think that they're doing it. I think they're doing everything right, and if it only gets better on from if they actually improve it on better from here, I honestly think they're going to be the main competition when it comes to streaming gaming. Now, as much as I'm dunking on Stadia, I still think that Stadia will have all their shit together. If Google doesn't quit it first, I think they'll have all their shit together in 2 years. If anybody will still be checking for Stadia in 2 years, that's another question. Like it still trips me out that Android is your fucking invention, but Stadia only plays on the Pixel. That makes no damn sense whatsoever. And not even all versions of the Pixel phone.
Yep.
Like that is fucking ridiculous. But yeah, I think as far as in the video goes, they've had a strong they got a strong showing so far, and all they have to do is improve upon it. And they're gonna be a solid they're going to be a solid front runner for the king of this whole stream gaming thing.
Now, I never got a chance to play Stadia. I know YouTubers, you got a chance to play Stadia before it was called Stadia. But I'm going to definitely sign up for the GeForce one because I'm very curious to see how well it works. And also, I want to see how bad the latency is. I mean, when I talk about latency in cloud, it's not a problem if you play single-player games. It's just a problem when you play multiplayer games. But a lot of the games I play now, I'm not playing a lot of shooters and stuff where I need to have, low pings and low latency in my gaming. I could play something like Runeterra on it and even with latency still be okay, So I'm not worried about that in that sense. But yeah, I'm going to definitely give it a try. I think they're going down the right route, right? I think they're pretty smart with what they're doing. I think they're going to definitely be a sleeper hit. I think a lot of people really wasn't looking at GeForce, and they've been doing this for a while. I remember when they were first trying to introduce their little mini systems, their handheld systems.
Yep.
It was basically they were trying to do the cloud gaming with that too. Also, it was more of you take it and then it's like the Steam. You have the indoor cloud service. So yeah, I can't wait to see how it goes, and I think if it's good, which I will update the stream, it definitely might be, the front runner. I mean, we do have xCloud out. xCloud, I'm in the xCloud beta, but I haven't tried playing from the server. Everything I've done with the xCloud has been from my own machine, which was very, very good. Like the latency and the responsiveness was very good. But I haven't tried, using xCloud for just the xCloud stuff, which when I get time, I'll give it a try and see. But yeah, I'm excited for GeForce. I can't wait to jump into it. That's, like I said, like you brought up before, but that Steam integration is just beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. I think we are done with gaming. Oh, man, no Stadia. No Stadia. Oh, thank God. So let's move on to movies and movie trailers real quick. And the first trailer is basically The Rise of Gru, which is another Minions movie. Minions is huge. I don't know why, but it is. It's very, very big. I've only seen the first one, which wasn't Minions. It was Despicable Me 1. I haven't seen any of the other ones before. I thought the first Despicable Me was okay, but they seem to be raking in tons and tons of money. I mean, it's a franchise where Minions brought in $1 billion as an animated film. So we have right now Minions Rise of Gru basically tells, I guess, a story about how Gru became Gru, with him going against the Vicious Six. I will start with you two, Beards. What did you think of this trailer itself?
I'm not like it's not that it's not that it looks bad in any way, shape, or form. And I know, and I already know that it's that if I watch it 9 times out of 10, I'm going to enjoy it. Like but I have no like a lot of the Despicable Me movies, I really never have any motivation to go see them in theaters. I normally see them when they come out on a network service or they're streaming somewhere.
Okay.
But I have no doubt that it'll be enjoyable because they normally are.
Okay. Roku?
Much like Two Beards, I got to take and say, it's going to be enjoyable. I mean, I've seen all of them at one point or another. I think out of the bunch, I'd say maybe the like out of all of them, Despicable Me was probably the best one. And the second Minions one was, I mean, in the first Minions movie was probably like right up there with it, just about. Everything else just seemed like they were reaching, and this just seems like another one that's reaching.
Okay.
Like they're just making something that they know will print money. That's what it seems like.
Do you feel like they've Shrek the franchise, like they've made too many copies at this point?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm almost waiting for them to make a movie with Gru doing time travel, and then we can just call it a day.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you like look, time travels is that last straw. I'm just kind of waiting for it at this point.
Yeah, I think now that you bring it up, I think they're actually another series that there was of a ton of sequels to Kung Fu Panda. I think there's actually a chance they're rebooting that to actually start over at one.
Oh, God, no, please.
Oh, gosh.
The first one was good, but I think I was good after like the first or second one. Second one, I was like, okay. And the third one, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely checked out.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same. It's not like just the second and the third ones were bad, but it was just like at that point, it's like this story should be over. Why are we still doing this?
Well, I will say with the Minions movie, I think the trailer looked cute. It didn't look as cute as one of the other ones, but like Rokku said, it's just a series that prints money, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it will come out. It'll probably make about $600-700 million, if not $1 billion, and everybody will love it. And then we'll get another Despicable Me or Minions movie right out afterwards.
And somebody in this movie apparently can't count. Because you have your vicious 6 bad guys, but there's only 5 chairs. So,
the empty chair is going to be
Gru.
It's going to be right. Yeah,
see,
it's going to be how Gru gets it.
6. You can't say you got 6 and there's not 6 there. No.
They should be the vicious 5 until they get the 6.
Oh man.
Correction. I meant that Shrek is actually getting a reboot, not Kung Fu.
Oh yeah, Shrek. Well, Shrek is kind of overdue. But the interesting thing is, though, it's going to be the same studio because Shrek is what, DreamWorks?
Yeah.
So DreamWorks was bought by Comcast, which owns Illumination, and basically everybody uses the Illumination technology, which allows them basically to do 3D at like half the price. Whatever they do with, however the technology to make these movies. So yeah, we'll probably see a new Shrek done with the Illumination engine. So yeah, I can see it coming.
I wonder if they'll have if Mike will come back to do the voice.
That's interesting. I'm
actors.
almost sure of it. After or during it, you're going to probably get a scene or sequence with the Minions or Gru, and it's going to set up a Shrek Despicable Me crossover. I'm sure you're going to see it. I'm 100% sure.
That'll be Roku's time travel one right there.
Oh man.
That's
Yeah,
the shark movement, huh?
I'm definitely sure it's coming. It's coming.
Shrek will be sitting on a couch with a bad box talking about Ashtray.
Ashtray, donkey!
Yeah, because we all know Fiona can fight. So.
Oh man. All right, so let's go into our next trailer, which I have playing right now. The movie Spiral. For many of people who probably didn't realize what it was until the middle of the movie, is another spin. I don't know if it's a sequel or a spin-off, but to the Saw series. And I'm going to go with you, Rokku. What did you think of the Chris Rock's Spiral?
Horror training day.
That's great.
I don't know. It's just, I mean, Chris Rock, if he was like, I don't know, if Chris Rock wasn't in it, I probably wouldn't be interested. And I can say the same thing with Samuel Jackson, because I was never really a big fan of the Saw films. And knowing that this is, looking like it's a spinoff of Saw, the only real thing I'm actually curious about is knowing that the role that he has in the production of this movie. It's like, okay, what's Chris Rock going to do with a Saw movie?
Yeah.
I don't know, like that's kind of caught my attention. It's like whether Samuel Jackson was in it or not, that's a whole nother thing, because they could have put anybody in that role. But just knowing that Chris Rock is hitting this, I'm kind of curious just on that alone.
Okay. Two Beards?
I was very interested, mostly because it has a completely different look from a lot of the movies. Like there's the elements that come in at the end, like when the Saw theme song kicks in, which I still to this day think is one of the best theme songs ever made.
Yep.
I put it up there with the 28 Days Later theme song, which I also think is bomb. Also, I was talking with this trailer to a friend who also thought it looked very, very good and different from the Saw movies. He had a very, very cool point. He was like, if they had actually never told you it was if they didn't use this the Saw theme music, and they didn't say the whole book from the Book of Saw, if they just did the spiral thing throughout it, and you didn't find out that it's actually related to the Saw universe until you got in to see the movie, he's like, that would have been crazy, because it's like the whole thing when people saw the spiral spray paint, a lot of people would have been like talking like it's got to be Saw, but other people would have been denying it since Saw was not brought up in the trailer at all. So I was like, that would have been like a great surprise when you go into the theater, even though they don't do that sort of thing anymore when it comes to trailers. But he brought up a pretty interesting point. To piggyback off of what Rokku said about Chris Rock, something that's always been also interesting is that comedians, they're some of the most versatile people when it comes to acting and stuff like that, as well as like other forms of entertainment. So it's like we take Jordan Peele and how many people were surprised when they saw his foray into horror with like Get Out. So it's like I think I don't know, maybe it's because like a lot of times you always hear the phrase that comedians are tortured souls. Like maybe he'll fully excel at this. So we'll see.
Okay. So I think when my brother passed me his trailer, it's like Spiral came out. He started sending me all this stuff about Spiral. I'm like, what the hell is Spiral? And I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, it's a Chris Rock movie, yeah, okay. And then right when the music for Saw came in right here at this sequence here, I was like, oh fuck, it's Saw. And then I saw the puppet the puppet with the pimp hat on, which is kind of funny. But I was like, oh yeah, it's Saw. So I fell off. I wasn't a big Saw fan. I think I saw the first two, and then I was like, yeah, I'm done. I thought the original concept for Saw was pretty good. I like the idea of it, like, what would you do to save your life? Are you willing to saw off your arm? Are you willing to dig out your eye for a key to unlock a bear trap? All these different things of what people will do, And I found that very, very interesting concept. But, once you see it once or twice, it's like, okay, I'm past it now, Yeah. But Chris Rock movies, for me, are like hit or miss. Some of them I like, some of them I don't. And we haven't seen him basically act in a very, very long time, right? Outside of like minor cameos here and there. I think the last big movies that he was doing was the grown-up ones with Adam Sandler, and that was like years ago, if not a decade ago, So I'm very curious with this. The trailer itself didn't like make me go, oh my God, I want to go see this movie. They didn't really show you much, but it is a teaser trailer, so I'll wait for the other trailer to come out, see if they give me a little bit more to chomp on, and then I'm definitely I'll see if I'm definitely ready to jump in and go see this movie itself. Any other comments before we move away from trailers?
None.
I was gonna say, like, I'm loving their DC filter for like the first half.
Oh yeah.
That Snyder blue light. That overlay.
Yeah. It's very curious because I'm looking at this one clip and it's interesting because you see him as a cop, but then there's a clip where he has like a ski mask on, like he's robbing a place. and you can definitely tell it's Chris Rock when you look at his eyes. So I'm very curious as to see what that translates into. Yeah, and do you think that he might be Donald Glover's character with that ending, similar to Donald Glover? Do you think? No, excuse me, Danny Glover, not Donald. Danny Glover. Do you think he's Danny Glover's character, maybe a younger version of him?
It would be interesting.
Might be rewriting. I don't know.
Think this might be a prequel to the Saw movies?
Maybe. I don't know. It might be. Because I remember reading about something about like a reboot of Saw coming from Chris Rock, but I don't know.
And
maybe
that would definitely be very interesting if this is actually like a prequel, like this is what starts it all off kind of thing. Like that would actually be pretty cool.
And if you do look at the old video, and if you do look at the videos, they are driving an old.
Yeah. You're right. When you look at it, so yeah, it is. Yeah, it is a lot of old cars when you look at it. The time frame seems to be very. Yeah, actually, no. Well, let me switch over real quick. How new do you think this Camaro is, though? Do you think that's a new or older model?
Yeah, that is actually
that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard because they all look like they always take the older model basically to look. So I'm not sure. So real quick before we go to our next topic, I want to go into something that just came out. So we all covered basically Birds of Prey, and it's out now. It's getting tons of great reviews, not only from the actual reviewers, movie reviewers, and critics themselves, but it's actually getting good reviews from the audience too. But the box office does not match the actual praise that it's getting. Right now, it looks like it's going the route of Shazam, another movie that was critically acclaimed and got good reviews on both sides, but did not sell well. It got it only made about $5 million on Thursday, $8 million on Friday, at about $13 million overall for Birds of Prey on 2 days, and that's really low. What are your thoughts for Birds of Prey? And I'm going to go to you, Rokku, first.
I mean, I'll say this is. I mean, the fact that it's got the positive feedback is saying that it looks like DC might have found their niche, or Warner Brothers in this case might have found their niche. Instead of trying to copy and paste that Marvel Universe formula into play, it's just do something completely different. It's like just do your own thing, and if it happens to work out, it happens to work out. So it's disappointing that it's getting such high praise and it's not showing up in as far as the box office numbers. But the fact that it is getting high praise is at least it's still just a step in the right direction.
I think it's two factors going in.
Mm-hmm.
The first, I do feel that like when I was looking at the reviews from certain people who still like the movie, but they had the qualm about it being way too girl power. So I feel that may have turned off a certain audience of comic book moviegoers who hate who aren't as fond of any movie that has either a female lead or a minority lead. So it probably threw them off. Now that leads into my second thing, which I think messed up their second disadvantage, is that it is a rated R movie. So like, for example, even if you don't have that part of the comic book audience who if they feel anything is SJW, they won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Even if you cut that portion of the movie going audience out, you normally can recover your money with the PG-13 crowd of people who are bringing their kids and stuff in to see it. But I think because this is a rated R, it missed out on the PG-13 money, and I think that probably would have actually boosted its sales up even higher. So that's what I feel. That's what I'm personally feeling is the reason why it's not doing well.
Okay. I was on mute, so you guys heard me, but the people out there did not hear me. So repeat it once again. So Birds of Prey on Rotten Tomato is at an 81% critic score, which is certified fresh out of 250 reviews rather, and the audience score is at 83% out of 3,277, which from a reviewer standpoint, it did better than the Joker, which is at 68% out of 544 reviews. It's a tomato, it's not certified fresh, but the audience looks like they like Joker more, which 66,240, but of course, this is a long period. We'll see if that score for Birds of Prey goes up or go down as more, of course, reviews come in from the audience. And as stated before, I agree with you with the rated R, but Joker was rated R and it still did a lot better than this movie.
That's that same audience that I told you will not touch a Birds of Prey with a 10-foot pole is the same audience that went and praised Joker.
So is it really the rated R score? Rated R rating, or is it more a bias?
It's a bias, but I'm saying that because of the rated R, Birds of Prey can't overcome that bias. Okay. So, for example, if the latest batch of Star Wars movies, like humor me here, because we know Disney would never make a rated R Star Wars. If the last batch of Disney Star Wars movies, if they were all rated R, like they would still make a ton of money, but they wouldn't make as much money as they have.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like or for example, I feel that Captain Marvel, which to the point had to deal with everything from people review bombing it to people writing hundred thousands of signatures for a petition to ban the movie outright and stuff like that. If Captain Marvel had to rely on being a rated R movie, outside of the support of people who just wanted to see the Captain Marvel movie, I don't think it would have done the same numbers it would have done as a PG-13 movie.
I guess that's fair, but keep in mind too with Captain Marvel, there was a whole, I won't say feminist, but there was a good feminist movement behind Captain Marvel to kind of push the Captain Marvel movie. I don't know if you remember that, but there was a lot of women.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Like with Black Panther, they were all about like, hey, we finally got our movie. Let's push it. Like Black Panther got pushed by black people. Let's push Captain Marvel, and there was that huge bump, and of course that put it over in the $1 billion market. I don't know why those same people aren't pushing Birds of Prey, but they were there though.
Like there is a lot of that sort of a lot of sort of movement and that sort of push for Birds of Prey on social media. Like there's a lot of feminists behind it. There are a lot of there's a lot of people who love the fact that it has a diverse cast. There's a lot of people who especially love the fact that they decided to make a Black Canary black in the movie. So there's a ton of people who have been pushing it. Like if you even go and hashtag it in now, you'll see that you'll see a lot of people still pushing it. Some people talking about they're going to see it for a third time. So it's like when I see the same sort of you're right. It's nowhere near the same amount of movement that it was for the push for Captain Marvel, but at the same time, I still do see a lot of people actually pushing for it on different social media platforms. So that's why I feel that if you take that same sort of praise, but you add like a 13-year-old to a 13-year-old to 17-year-old girls as well, and add people who can actually take their kids to see it. I think I personally think Birds of Prey would have made probably about 3 times the amount it made for opening weekend.
Okay, I'm going to say one last thing. I've often said on the show I hated the trailer. I feel more confident in buying a ticket for Birds of Prey after hearing a lot of the positive reviews than I did beforehand. We already know what your opinion was on it beforehand, Two Beards, so I'm going to go just mainly to Rokku. Rokku, after hearing all the positive reviews for it, are you going to go actually see Birds of Prey in the movie theater?
I'd like to. I mean, I was kind of sold on it when we first went over it when I was last on. So
Okay.
I like hearing all of the positive reviews. I'm even more inclined to want to go see it.
Cool. And we already know, Two Beers, you're going to go see it with the wife. We already know that, so that's why I didn't really address that yet to you. Nothing against you. We just know that you're going to go see it. So all right. So let's go into our next next thing, which is basically Sam Raimi has been rumored, or at least they've been talking to Sam Raimi in terms of directing the new Doctor Strange 2 movie. This is an exclusive that came out of Variety. I'm going to go with you first, Rokku. What do you think about Sam Raimi, the man who did Evil Dead and Spider-Man, first Spider-Man trilogies, directing, Doctor Strange 2?
Wow.
I'm gonna be very honest. I'm scared, and not in a good way. This was like Doctor Strange, the first Doctor Strange. The director who was behind it was known for thrillers and stuff like that. It's like Sam Raimi. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, Spider-Man 2 was good. I mean, Spider-Man himself in the movie was great. I can't necessarily say the whole movie was great, but so Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 was great, but I don't know if I can say I have that kind of faith in Sam Raimi to not mess this up. I mean, this is a I mean, Marvel right now is in a very delicate spot.
Yep.
And they need to be really choosing wisely who they have directing these films. And I think this might be their Thor 2 all over again. Like, they might be getting ready to drop the ball on this one and get up with somebody else.
All right, Two Beers, your take on this?
I think that Raimi will give Feige exactly what he wants.
Okay.
So
elaborate.
Feige is okay with adding a horror aspect to Doctor Strange 2, but the type of horror he's looking for is the type of horror that's found in movies like Poltergeist, the scene from Indiana Jones when the Nazi's face melt off, like that type of goofy horror that may actually seem scary to you when you're a kid, but not as much as an adult. I'm a longtime horror fan. I've seen tons of horror movies. I grew up on them. So if you were to go back and watch the Evil Dead movies now as an adult, you're probably gonna laugh through the whole thing. But if you went back and looked at them back in the day with the chanting, the reading of the necro,
Necronomicon,
and even the scene like the eyeballs popping out of heads, and when the one transformed into the possessed woman that they had to keep locked in the basement. That shit scary. That shit is very scary as a kid. So it's us being much older, it's not going to affect us in the same way. We'll probably be entertained by it, but we won't be scared by it. But I think as far as the PG-13 family-friendly scare that Feige wants, I think Sam Raimi will be able to bring that. Now, I do share you guys' fear on whether or not outside of those type of moments, will the whole movie be good? Will it make you think? Will the magic aspects of it be done well? Will he present the world of Doctor Strange in an incredible way, past the scare and goof gag? So I am a little worried on that aspect. But Raimi's he's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. I think he'll pull it off if he gets the position.
Okay. So with introducing this topic, you can kind of hear that I was
ooh.
Yeah, I didn't really like it, and the main reason is this: I don't dislike Raimi, right? I enjoy Raimi's movies, and that's in terms of what you were talking about with Evil Dead. You're correct. I think the new Evil Dead remake that came out was a lot scarier than anything that Raimi did. And I agree with you. I think Raimi will give Feige what he wants, which then brings me to believe now that Scott Derrickson was probably let go because he really wanted a real true horror movie. And they were like, "Nah, we're not going to do that." Not in this sense.
I believe that's exactly what it was. I think he really wanted to push the boundaries of what he could do. Yeah, and under that like go really hardcore scary with it.
Yeah, Feige wants Gremlins. That's what he wants. He wants like Gremlins, like style horror out of his movies. I mean, that's fine. You know, if that's what he wants, you know, that's what it is. I'm just sad because I thought Scott Derrickson did a hell of a job with the first one.
There was somebody put a.
Okay, while you're getting your mic fixed, I'll continue.
At this point,
yeah, you're breaking up, dude. You're gonna have to log out or log back in. But the problem I have with Raimi is a lot of Raimi's movies are very, very campy, like supreme campiness, right? And I know comic book movies are campy, right? As my brother would say you have a talking squirrel and a purple guy. That's pretty campy in the movie theater. But his style of movies is super campy, right? I don't want to go back to like 90s, early 2000s superheroes campiness in terms of movies, right? Marvel movies, they have a campiness, but they also have a nice flow to them. You know, it's kind of hard to, you know, describe. Like, if you want to say the most campy, like, Marvel movie, you would probably say, like, Ant-Man, right? That would probably be the most campiest Marvel movie that you have. And I'm just afraid to see what this is going to be. I think there's better directors out there, but if they go with Sam Raimi, I gotta have faith that, you know, Feige knows what he's doing and the movie's going to turn out good. But I don't like this pick at all. What were you going to say originally, Two Beers, before you started, you know, cutting out?
I don't even remember. I was going to ask you guys did either of you ever watch Drag Me to Hell?
No, I heard that was one of his, but I remember the trailer for it. It was the one with the Apple guy in it and this girl. Yeah, I remember it, but I'd never seen it.
Can we play clips on here with no problem?
I'll play the clip. I'll just take it out when we do the post-editing.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to send you a clip right now, which is basically the ending of it, and like
spoiler.
Yeah, I mean it's a super old movie. If they haven't seen it yet, then you know the expiration's up on that spoiler.
Okay.
Hey! Oh God!
Okay. Line, bitch.
Ashtray.
Oh, goodness gracious. Wow. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Thank you.
I hope that I hope that it gave you confidence in Raimi taking over the reins.
All right. So we yeah. So we're going on time. So I want to skip past two of the topics that we had originally for this, just to make up a little bit more time. Real quick, TV suggestions. We will go with this. TV show suggestions. I'm going to start with YouTubers. Do you have a TV show you want to suggest to our audience that you might have saw that you want others to take a look at?
Yeah, I like to recommend the Watchmen. The last episode's a little janky, but other than that, it's a very solid series. It normally comic book adaptations of Moore's work outside of V for Vendetta, they normally aren't that good. But you can tell that this person really knows Moore's work inside and out, and it's a very faithful adaptation that actually expands upon the lore and tells its own story. And it also tells some great things about Black history from people who never learned about people like Lance Bass. So it's like Bass Reeves. Good Lord. So I think that
I was about to say, dude, that's
it's freaking Lord, right? Yeah. So people who never learned about Bass Reeves, like there's they talk about the whole the Tulsa, Oklahoma burning down the Black Wall Street. It's very, very well done. So I recommend that. And currently, I just started watching HBO's The Outsider. It's very intriguing. Without giving too much away, first episode, basically, it's about a murder, and the suspect of the murder is shown by video footage to be in two places at once, like in town the night of the murder with multiple witnesses, and at the same time 70 miles away from the actual murder. So now you're going through the whole mystery of how can is the guy that they arrested, is he really the murderer? And if he is, how can he be at two places at once? So it's very intriguing so far.
All right, Rokku.
When it comes down to TV shows, I'm not the one on that one. I actually haven't really been watching too much TV as of late. So when it comes down to interesting shows, I'm tapped out on that one.
There's not a show that you've seen that you would recommend others to watch? Not one?
No, believe it or not, I actually spent way too much time away from my
okay, no problem.
Which means I really feel like I'm probably missing out on some good stuff right about now.
All right. So for my one show I want to recommend, which is a weird choice, is Netflix The Messiah. And I recommend this show because I think the show is well done in terms of the audience, of giving you both sides of the coins of whether or not this guy is the second coming of Jesus or he's a con artist. And they give you enough belief on both sides for you basically to argue each point. And I think the show is pretty well done. I thought the characters were pretty interesting, and the writing was pretty good. So I can't wait to see the second season of it. I know a lot of people were crying, "Oh God, they're shitting on my religion," but I think it was you have to open the mind. It's a good show, right? So that was my that's my choice. Is The Messiah?
They crafted very, very well.
Yes.
Especially the whole aspect of every time they do something to make you think that he may possibly be a prophet or the Messiah, then they throw something else down the line that make you think that, oh no, he's a con man. So they play a good I'll use cat and mouse for lack of a better term of leading you around with the story on thinking which he could possibly be.
Yep. And real quickly, we're going to go, before we go to our wow, we're going to go to our topic 5, which we dubbed Me Too. So let's start off with Mr. Terry Crews. Terry Crews was in the media beforehand, and basically the one thing that Terry Crews probably needs to do is stop typing certain things. It's fine to have an opinion, but when you say certain things, you're going to get people, of course, who are going to come back to you, right? So Terry Crews was in there before talking about how the only woman he needs to be able to please is his wife. F his mom, F his daughter. They have men that need to basically please them. You know, it's like weird. But the main thing, though, the reason why a lot of this came up was because Gabrielle Union was fired from America's Got Talent. She started citing racism and other things with the staff behind closed doors. NBC opened up an investigation for it. And when I think it was Good Morning America or another station asked Terry Crews about it, he stated, hey, from a female perspective, he can't speak on it, but from a racism perspective, he stated basically he didn't see anything, and then he went on with the whole, when people were like, hey, why don't you have her back? He went on with the whole, hey, man, you know, I ain't woman I gotta please, which I understand what he was trying to say, what he was trying to come out, but he should have probably thought out the tweet more before he typed it. He was upset. But we'll take a real quick at some of the tweets that he just wrote back. In terms of it, he says, I told Kevin Hart a while ago he needed to acknowledge the pain of other people. Right now, I have to do the same thing. I want to apologize for the comments I made. I realized there was a lot of black women hurt and let down by what I said and also by what I didn't say. Then he went on to say, I hear you, I respect you, and understand you. I am sorry, I am here to support you. I spoke from my own personal point of view without first taking into consideration somebody else's experience. I allowed disrespectful comments directed at me and my family to cause me to react angrily instead of responding thoughtfully. This certainly caused him more harm, and it is my hope that I can amend any pain I have caused to those who were not hurt by my own words. So I want to start off with you two beers. What did you think about this whole fiasco with Terry Crews, Gabrielle Union, and America's Got Talent?
It's very interesting because it's like the more and more I think on it, like as much as I like Crews, I almost feel that this is almost kind of a sort of reverse Oprah situation. Like I've never actually seen Crews do anything that made me think that he wouldn't take up for the plight of black women or anything like that. But it was weird. Like when I first heard about this, I was just like, oh, he just worded himself incorrectly. Like
that's what I thought too.
Like yeah, that's the same thing I thought. I was just like, oh, it's like he should have just. It's like if it's one of those things where he just couldn't like keep his mouth shut about the whole thing. Like he could have simply said I feel bad for my sister, but that's not the experience I had there, and just keep it moving. Then it's like I saw the clip, and he went in. He was just like, "This is the most diverse place I've ever worked at," and blah 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 blah. And they're amazing. The people of color, and I'm like, "Damn, dog."
Yeah, people said that he put on a cape for them.
Yeah, good Lord, did he put the cape on? I'm like, damn. Like he went full in, and I'm like, dog, they didn't even ask all that. Like shit. Like
gotta secure that check.
Yeah, so it's like that kind of freaked me out that he went that far and deep into it. And like, and I think when people actually brought it to his attention that when he had his own Me Too moment, when the dude grabbed his junk at the party or whatever like that, like when everybody was calling him a chump or like talking about testing his manhood, basically saying that you let this guy grab you and you didn't like basically like punch him or like defend yourself. Like Gabrielle, she's one of the main people who stepped up for him and speaking out about this sort of thing and how like everything isn't as easy as you think it is. Like especially like basically imagining like a big black dude of Terry's build and stature, like beating the fuck out of some small exec who grabbed his shit at a party. That's not gonna print well in the media. That's not gonna look well when the police show up, no matter what the situation is that you paint it out to be. Like, yeah, his career will be done. Say, yeah. He's like, oh, I literally assaulted somebody because they grabbed my nuts. They're gonna be like, so you beat the shit out of this man to within an inch of his life because he grabbed your dick. So like, it's not gonna look well. So it's he did the smart thing by like shoving it off and going the other way. But the whole, I think when people brought that to his attention that, hey, she defended you on that front, then he doubled down and then he went toxic by the whole, I don't have to please anybody who except my I don't have to please my mother, my daughters, anything like that. Just my wife is the only one that I have to my wife is the only one that I have to account for. So yeah, I think that made him look even worse than I like the way that he reacted to those criticisms of him. But the apology came out. The apology was okay, but I really was not expecting that sort of response from him from the first part of it though. Very, very uncruise like for me so far from what I had always felt I had gotten from Cruz media wise.
So before I go to Rokku, I want to read what he stated, and I have this on in chat. It says, at it's Gabrielle, I want you to know it was never my intention to invalidate your experience, but that is what I did. I apologize. You have been through a lot in this business, and with that I empathize with the struggle towards fairness and equality in the workspace. You are a role model to the entire Black community, and in my desire to be professional and neutral as your coworker, I should have been, at the very least, understood you just needed my support. So go ahead, Rokku. What do you think about Terry Cruz's response, basically to Gabrielle and this whole situation entirely?
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the hard one out the way first. I'll go ahead and get the ignorant comment out the way first. He showed himself to be a very good dog. They didn't even have to throw him a bone for him to stand up for him.
Yo, you white knighted. You white knighted. Go ahead.
It's like they didn't even have to throw him a bone for him to stand up for that network like that. But I will say this is one of those moments where he should have stayed on code. Like, okay, so he acknowledged he didn't understand what it's like to be a Black woman in that situation. Cool. I wouldn't expect him to. But when he discredited her, on the whole, well, I didn't have any experience on the race level. Well, you're a Black man. She's a Black woman.
Exactly.
You might not get that, but she very well could. So it's just one of those moments where it's like, just keep your mouth shut. Stand up for her. It's like, look, I can't say whether she did or didn't, but if she did, I'm here for her. If she didn't, I'm still here for her. It is, and he could have said that, and that'd have been gold.
How fucking hard is that?
Either way. Either way.
There's no way this clip will ever reach Terry Crews, but if you're looking for PR, Rudikai has you. He actually will crank out better responses than you have. Sign this man before you open your fucking mouth next to him.
Oh man, I remember that was one of my ideas way back when, was to make a company that would look at tweets. So whenever you send out a tweet, it would have to go through our company first, and then it would be published to Twitter, so that we could correct it. That was one of the businesses that I wanted to come up with. Would have helped him. Would have helped
hear
him.
Me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Okay. So, go ahead, Rokku.
I was going to say, it's just, I mean, for him to just have that kind of a reaction, it's like it's one of those things where
so
I've become more sensitive to a lot of the things that I'm seeing when it comes down to especially Black women, and how they feel as though like Black men ain't worth nothing. And I said it exactly that way for a reason, because the vocal minority tend to be the only thing that they hear. So like with Terry Crews doing that, it's like, dude, you didn't help anything, dude. You really did not help anything. Like you created a bigger problem. You just stacked onto it.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's one of those things where it's like, come on, man, you got to be smarter than that. Like,
yeah, that was like
smarter than that.
That was like a Stephen A. Smith response if somebody says something bad about the NFL. Like, like Stephen A. will like he'll jump out in front of people throwing rocks and everything like that. Like, how dare you? I will protect the NFL at all costs.
Oh yeah.
Like, good Lord, Terry.
And I'm just disappointed. I'm very disappointed.
Same, man.
That apology is as far as I'm sorry. Like that. That apology is horrible. It seems like he only said it because he needed to say it, because he started getting checked. That's honestly what it comes down to. People started to check him, and he had to take him, recant and backtrack on that, because that's.
And I'm pretty sure his wife smacked him in the back of the head too when he got home.
Possibly. I mean,
I think Dwayne Wade's response to "Someone please take Terry Crews's phone" was the best response at the time. Yep. But I don't know how true it is or what's going to come out of this America's Got Talent study. But at least from what I was hearing, like Gabrielle was talking, it wasn't just even her experiences, right? She was talking about a lot of the people that work there, whether they're doing hair, makeup, the way they're being treated. She was talking about Simon Cowell, like smoking in buildings where you shouldn't be smoking in. And it's a lot of stuff that he could have commented on outside of that, and he just didn't. And I don't know. Like, for instance, she was commenting on what hairstyle she could wear because certain hairstyles were too black, right? That's something, even if you heard that, it's something, even from his stance, he can't really say because he's a bald black guy. You know, and I know Howard Stern's came out and said some shit about how it's a boys' club and this, that, and the other. To jump with what you said, I think that initially when Terry Crews was asked the question, I think his response should have just been better. He shouldn't be like, I back her up with all the allegations and things that's happening. If she needs help or she needs anything, she could call on me. But from my standpoint, I didn't experience what, some of the stuff that she's stating. And that's all he had to say.
And that literally could have been it.
Yeah, and he moved on. He would have kept them happy, and he would have did what he needed to do. But he would have made sure those checks kept coming. So he's like, man, I don't see shit, man. They were good, man. You know how much money they give me? They feed me every damn day. Yo, that black man, they saw a black guy on the streets, and they gave him a big paycheck. I don't know what she talking about. I got them cheeseburgers, man.
All the while smelling like Old Spice.
So I agree.
You play Crackdown 3?
Oh man. So yeah, I mean, she was commenting on like judging and all that stuff, and this is stuff that a lot of the stuff Terry has no say in, or he wouldn't even be a part of, right? The judge's portion as opposed to him, it's a lot of different little things in there, but I don't know what's going to come of it, but I'm glad that he kind of went full circle, and I hope in the future he's a little bit more mindful. When you're a celebrity, Twitter is huge, man. You got to watch whatever you say because there's no erasing it, and whatever you write, you stick by it. And I know people are going to come to me and be like, oh my God, you're just taking it. Like, no, I'm saying that the man made a bad comment. He understands he made a bad comment. He fixed it. Hopefully, he does a little bit better. I'm not, for or against what he's... I think for the most part, a lot of his stuff was dumb, but the whole, only woman you have to support, I was like, come on, Terry. At that point, that's the dumbest comment on Twitter as of right now. Why are you even saying that?
You know what though? Like, to kind of touch on something that Two Beer said, though, is like I am kind of curious what are the chances that Terry Crews just so happened to be the person that they threw out there to comment on this after the whole Gabrielle Union situation? Just to kind of touch on that whole reverse Oprah thing. It's like it's like, what are the chances?
Yeah.
He did go super hard in the paint, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Much harder than he had to, yeah. It's like, yo, you want to keep your hosting job? We got talking points. You need to get these out there.
Yeah.
I did good, didn't I? I hit them all. I can see him dancing like, oh yeah, ooh, I hit all those talking points. Yeah,
all the hoops.
Yeah, all the hoops. Oh man, we could do Terry. Well, I still love you, Terry, man. But yeah, you gotta do better.
Same
man.
Here, but that was hella disappointing, dog.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Yep.
All right, so the next one we're going to go to, which is very interesting. So we're going to go down the Me Too movement, right? And one of the concerns that one of our listeners always brought up was, oh, you guys always take the woman's sides and this, that, and the other. And that's not true when it comes to it, right? We make comments based on the facts that are given at that time, right? So at that time, he wanted to jump on page for something that happened 3 years ago. And we're like, well, that happened 3 years ago. We're talking about the comment, Triple H is making. When Amber Heard and freaking Johnny Depp came out, I didn't take any sides to it. but it came out that this woman was setting this dude up, right? It came out pretty early, even though a lot of Hollywood and everybody jumped towards Amber Heard's side, even though Johnny Depp was showing pictures of him being abused and all this other stuff. Everybody in Hollywood jumped towards Amber Heard's side, right? So let's play a little bit of the video where Amber Heard is actually talking about how, yeah, she physically abused Johnny Depp in their relationship.
You called me a liar, and yet
I watched you lie.
You called me a liar.
I watched you lie. I heard it. I was.
There's no what. You still haven't told me what lie it is.
We'll talk
but yet every single time,
we'll
you know you do
Travis.
this every single
Talk
time.
to Travis.
I'm not talking to nobody.
No.
That you go. I don't care. I really could care less. It's you every single time. You latch onto some sort of thing. When I already told you, I don't know what you're talking about. You don't even know what you're talking about. You still haven't even told me what it is. But run with it.
I have told you what it is.
No, you haven't.
I said to Travis, I said to you, hey, tell Travis what just happened.
You told me to do it. You told me to. You said, go do that.
I said, no, tell him what just happened.
And I lied.
And that you punched me in the thing, and you in the face, and you said, no, I didn't. What are you talking about? And I watched you lie, and then I
didn't punch you.
And
by the way, I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you, babe. You're not punched.
Don't tell me what it feels like to be punched.
You've been a lot of fights, been around a long time. I know. Yeah,
no, when you have a closed fist.
You get punched. You got hit. I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not.
All right, so we're going to stop that. So she's literally talking about, he's like, dude, you punched me. She's like, no, I ain't punched you. I hit you with a closed fist. I'm sorry that I didn't properly slap you. So anyway, I think the main thing that I want to go on this is that when this first came out, everybody slammed Johnny Depp. He was losing roles, all this stuff, and they praised Amber Heard and her fight, and everybody backed her. And now that a lot of this stuff is starting to come out, a year later, that she was very aggressive in their relationship. Not putting anything away from what Johnny Depp might have did, but she was very aggressive in their relationship. Nobody wants to say anything or jump on to help Johnny Depp or remove any movies from Amber Heard. It's like, oh yeah, we're not going to talk about this. So I wanted to bring this up and get some comments. I'm going to start with YouTubers. What do you think about this new information of Amber Heard being very physical with Johnny Depp in their relationship?
When they first, when all the allegations was first made, there was a lot of information that came out that even at that time made it look like a lot of the stuff wasn't true. And when the only video that they had that was supposed to be proof of Depp being abusive is him them in an argument and him getting mad and throwing a wine bottle at a wall. And I'm just like, there's so many people out there who throw stuff and break stuff when they get mad, and people who punch holes in walls and things of that nature. Like, I didn't see him actually committing physical abuse. I just saw him losing his temper. So it's like I didn't have any real judgment on it at the time. Just like you, I'm like, all right, we'll just wait and see what the facts are. I've never been a fan of the whole I'm all for the whole believe women if they tell you that something is wrong. But I'm also like if there's an allegation, like I still believe in the whole guilty and innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around. So like it really bothered me that he was losing all these roles and people were burying him and throwing him under the bus when it was just all allegations. So now that this has come out, like that makes it even look worse on her part, and it also makes it look bad on all the people who decided to bury him and condemn him without any evidence, because all it took was just an allegation. Like personal story, but a good friend that I grew up with when we were younger was actually blamed for rape. The night they came and took him, we were all out playing on the playground, and they went ahead and locked the guy. They locked him up. The thing that was crazy about it was of course, because we're all poor at this time, he couldn't afford a lawyer, so it was like they gave him a public defender. Public defender was flat out was like, plead guilty, and he's like, but I didn't do it, and he's like, doesn't matter, plead guilty. And then when the case came up, the public defender actually said, our client pleads guilty, and thankfully the judge was like, is that what you chose? And he was like, no, that's not what I chose. So we went around, and the church that I was a part of at the time gathered up money and bought him a real lawyer. And this is how quickly the case was dismissed, because the real lawyer actually was like, why was there no rape kit done? Did you check her for this, that? Did you check anything for DNA? And so then it's like, once not only did you find out that the girl that blamed him for rape was still a virgin, none of his DNA was anywhere near her in anywhere, shape, or form. And then after a while, she eventually admitted that she made it up, and she made it up because she made it up of the stupidest reason. I'm not gonna go too far into it, but like that's one of the whole thing, and one of the things that's really horrible about this sort of thing, the whole allegation sort of thing, that even when you're proven to be innocent, that shit carries you around forever. Like, this is something that happened when I was a teenager, but still now, as a much older man, most of the people still think that he raped that girl when he didn't. And this is even with multiple witnesses at the time. Didn't help much more that his skin color didn't help it much more. But this is even at the time when multiple witnesses actually all can attend to where he was at the time when the girl said that he raped her. So that's one of the dangerous things about, yes, I will 1000% say if somebody comes to you, no matter if it's a woman or a man, no matter what, like, basically if they say something happened to them, believe them, take it seriously, but there are protocols, there are rules to follow, there are investigations that have to be taking place. You shouldn't automatically paint either side as being a guilty or a liar until all the facts are like brought out before you.
All right, Rokku.
When the story first came out, I'm very much one of those types that's like, you know what, I'm not in that house. I don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So it's all just he said, she said.
Yep.
Until somebody goes to court, not my problem. And even when it does, it's still not my problem. But in this situation, we got tapes. And Mira is apparently beating the hell out of Jack Sparrow. So, that's like...
I'm sorry, but domestic violence is funny, but that was funny.
I mean...
She just said...
That's for, look, I mean, I could say this another way, but that's essentially still just one more black eye for #MeToo. So... It's not good. It's not good at all.
Yeah, go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
You have your fair share of situations, where things can be very bad. Like, I mean, much like Two Beers, I know of a situation which was not necessarily very much, well, in this situation, it would be a domestic violence situation. And, it was 100% exactly what it was. I'm not going to say, it wasn't caused, was a little bit on the other side, because when I found out this, everything that was going on and everything that happened and the things that went into what caused those incidents to happen, for an experience that I know of, I'm like, yeah, I see why it happened. It's kind of like that whole Bill Burr thing where it's like, you still shouldn't do it, but I can understand the reason why you did it, kind of thing. Like, you can't say there's never a reason. Like, I get it, but it's like, it's still not cool. And in this case, this is the reverse. It very much seems like, we don't know why she's hyper aggressive, but today she's the one that's coming across as being the hyper aggressive. Justice for Johnny, the same way, let's drop her from Aquaman 2, and let's look, if we're talking about, If we're talking about dropping him for the new
You're
Harry
saying
Potter
keep
movie,
the same
let's keep that same heat. Keep that same heat.
No, I agree.
The other way.
I agree.
Let's turn that other eye on the stove on.
I agree. I definitely do. And so the video, she admits to it. I don't think she was like punching him, but he had pictures of where he showed, I guess, abuse, you could say. My issue was that everybody's quick to cancel. So anytime an allegation comes up, everybody wants to start firing people and put people on notice. And you can't do that, right? You got to hear both sides of it. Mm-hmm. Overall, they just were toxic for each other. And Johnny Depp needs to leave these young women alone. He really needs to stop messing with these young women. But jokes aside, though, I do kind of feel bad for both of them in this situation. But I don't even know if this is even real. I don't know if they were both just setting each other up by filming each other, recording. Because after he stopped recording, I don't know. Maybe he was punching her in her face. I have no clue. I don't know what's going in that household. He may just be recording it just so that he have something to play on his back of something. I don't know. People are shady, but for both of them, though, they're both horrible. And this goes to show you that we shouldn't be just canceling everybody just because you hear an allegation. Let's listen to both sides. They're both horrible for each other.
Yeah, again, that's an extremely toxic relationship if I've ever heard one.
Oh yeah, and it's I don't mean to laugh, but like listen to Johnny Depp in that thing was like he's like, I did not hit you. It just took me to Tommy Wiseau from The Room. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. That's at least that's like how he sounded. I didn't hit you, Amber. You punched me, Amber.
It sounded like I got a drunk Beatle off of him.
Yeah,
I really expect him to pull out the bass and start singing the song after a while.
Like seriously, he sounded like Tommy Wiseau, man. It was like, what am I listening to? You did. I told you to go see her. Go ahead, Rokku.
He needs to get himself a nice older Angelina Jolie and leave these young shit. and just stop. I mean, like, if he wants to be Captain Jack Sparrow, then be Captain Jack Sparrow at your own speed. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Angelina Jolie is open. She did divorce Brad, and she's looking for somebody that will be with her so she could adopt more babies from Africa. Oh jeez. All right, let's move over to our wow. So originally we were going to do a Florida man story, but the Super Bowl happened, and I figure it was just best to look at this fine gentleman here. So we're going to look at this video, and this video, as stated, is for Right Wing Watch. This video is presented for educated purposes and may contain language that's offensive and not appropriate for some viewers. We do not endorse the views of this group and we report on. All right, let's listen.
I think we ought to sue. Sid, what do you mean? I think we ought to sue. That's what I think. Hey, folks, were there any warnings before that Super Bowl halftime show? Would that halftime show, would that have been rated PG? Were there any warnings that your 12-year-old young son whose hormones are just getting ready, just starting to operate, was there any warning that what he's going to see might cause him to get sexually excited? So I think we ought to go sit down in the courtroom and present this as evidence and how the whoever is keeping me from getting into the kingdom of heaven. Could I go into a courtroom and say, viewing what you put on that screen put me in danger of hellfire? Could the court say, Roger, that doesn't apply here? That doesn't apply here because pornography, the right to porn overrides your right to watch it? Yeah, but you didn't tell me I was going to watch it. You just brought it into my living room. You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me there were going to be crotch shots. You said, well, you should know better. You should know better because it's J-Lo and whoever that was. You should know. She's an expert in crotch shots. You already know that. No, I protect my eyes. I didn't know that about her. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. Why don't we sue? Is it not discriminatory for me to say, I love watching the NFL.
Wait.
I want to watch the Super Bowl, but I don't want to watch that. If they bring that into my house, is that not discriminatory? Roger, what do you think? Is there an attorney out there say, huh? That's discriminatory against the values I have in my house. You can't just do that. They won't even let you talk about homos on Facebook.
Oh my God. So this, for those who are listening, this is Coach Dave, who's supposed to be a priest. He's supposed to be a priest. And he's very upset with the halftime show with Shakira and Jennifer Lopez by what they were wearing, how they were dancing. And he wants to sue the NFL because, yeah, as you heard, they brought that into his house. Now, the moment they started doing it, I asked the question of, why didn't you change the channel? Mm-hmm. Why did you sit there and watch the whole thing and not change the channel? That's all I asked. Because as soon as you saw them come out and the way they were dressed, you said, oh no, click and go to the next channel. It would have been simple. Go ahead, Mr. Rokku. What do you feel about Mr. Coach Dave and his tirade and his wanting to sue the NFL because of crotch shots?
I think Ned Flanders over here is tripping. Look, like you said, it's like he knew the halftime show would have been over in 15 minutes. He literally could have, as soon as it started, set the timer, and 15 minutes later turned it back. But he didn't, which means he wanted to see some ass shaking just like everybody else. Yep. So with that being the case, his quote unquote lawsuit wouldn't go anywhere. That's stopping right there at the door.
Two Beards?
Oh, that's too good. This dude is wilding, man.
Go ahead, Two Beards. It's all on you.
Like I said, this guy's wilding, man. Not only is it as Rokku brought up, it's a half-ass lawsuit. It's not going anywhere. And then as Tyler, the Creator, once said about cyberbullying, where he's like, I don't understand. Just close your eyes or turn away from the computer. It's the same thing. It's like, nah. It's like, something tells me that you're not a regular. Something tells me he's not a regular priest. Something tells me he's one of those red state priests who hate brown people. He probably got hot and bothered and hated himself much more for that as well. Oh,
for a look from the Hunchback. Huh?
Yeah, yeah. Some Esmeralda fantasies there going on.
Wow.
Where you going, hun? I'm going to the bathroom. I'm disgusted.
I'm a big too.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
Are you okay in there, baby? You're making a lot of noise.
Oh no. Oh my God, you're funny. You're funny. Anything else, Two Beards?
Nah, fuck this dude.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what he wanted from them, you know?
Yeah. The crotch shots. Like, calm the fuck down, my guy.
So here's the thing I don't understand, right? So last year you had Adam Levine in Maroon 5. Adam Levine, who was shirtless, with a tight ass pants and crotch shots all over the place, rocking a guitar, and there was no outrage yet for this, right? Then the women go out and do stuff, skin clothing, and it's like, oh my God, my 12-year-old son. Change the fucking channel.
Look, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure his 12-year-old son is probably seen considerably worse on Instagram.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, hell,
Probably literally as soon as he opens the app.
His 12-year-old son can go outside on a hot day and see worse than what he saw. Like, you can go into Walmart and see more graphic shit than that.
That is true. That is very true.
That is very true.
That is very true.
Oh, man.
My goodness. So I think this dude might have rubbed one out, felt guilty, and then he was like, all right, I want to bring an NFL lawsuit to sue these guys because I'm going to hell because, because y'all put this stuff in front of me. Oh, man. I thought this was pretty funny. What's that?
You tainted me. You made me jerk off the brown people.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. This dude was too good. This guy was too funny.
Shit.
Too funny. But I kind of wanted to do this story, even though we only usually do one. I'm going to do this real quick because this one was also pretty funny. So let's listen to real quickly a Florida man story as our last wow of the week. Let's go.
It's the fear of the unknown right now.
From your Cape Coral News team, a mystery package lands on a Cape Coral doorstep, and the recipient thought someone was sending them the coronavirus. Spoiler alert, that's impossible.
As NBC2's Victoria Reslow found out, the scare was bogus, but the hazmat response was very real.
Someone called 911 over a box delivered to their doorstep. The box from China was empty, but still the caller thought it could kill them. Cape Coral Fire Department had to suit up in hazmat gear for the scare.
You never know.
And a police officer called the Centers for Disease Control while on scene.
They were nervous and scared that it was the coronavirus. They called PD. PD called us. We brought the hazmat truck.
The CDC told police coronavirus cannot survive within a package, and there's no record of that ever even happening.
Stamped right on the box from China.
That's why neighbors on Northwest 14th Street like David Cobb,
I'm not worried about, touching it.
Say they aren't scared about contaminated cardboard. Cobb even got a package from China today.
I didn't think twice about it because I know that I'm not going to have a problem picking up any bug or anything like that off of a box that's probably taken, a week or so to get over here.
The caller told police they didn't order anything from China, but this empty package was addressed to them specifically. Neighbor Bruce Arnett Sr. does think that's strange.
Why would the box be sent to them? Who sent the box? Is it really from China? All that.
Virus spreads through droplets like a cough. So far, the virus has killed more than 420 people in China, but at this time, there are no deaths in the U.S. out of the handful of confirmed cases, none of which are in Florida.
I was a Marine who survived Vietnam, and I don't worry about it too much. I've already had enough luck. But it's very difficult to send that across in a box. You're not going to do it. It won't work.
In Cape Coral, Victoria Reslow, NBC2.
A little perspective is in order. While you are hearing some frightening numbers on the coronavirus from China, you are actually much more likely to catch the flu. And human coronavirus is nothing new. There have been strains for years. Something as simple as a Lysol wipe can help kill most of the strains.
Holy shit.
Only in Florida. So man gets a box. As you can tell, the firemen were pissed. They had to wear hazmat suits to go because the guy got an empty box and he thought he had the coronavirus in it. I'll go to you, Rokku. What do you think about this Florida man story?
I'm trying to figure. I guess it makes sense because it's Florida that this guy would think that the coronavirus is going to jump out of his knockoff Nike's box like a Jack in a Box. It's Florida, so I guess anything goes. You got a talking mouse, so I guess the beer virus jumping out of a box is possible too. I don't know. He was tripping. It's one of those things where lack of knowledge shows.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Lord.
Really shows.
Two beers.
Yo, the news reporter, the firefighter, his other neighbors, they all had the same look. Like, this dumb motherfucker.
He called the CDC.
This motherfucker thinks somebody sneezed in a box and mailed that shit from China. And the fucking virus was just chilling in a shoebox of all places, waiting to hop up on his ass when he opened it up. It's like, go out and read a book, you stupid motherfucker. Like the fuck, These firefighters had to dress up in hazmat suits to open up a fucking shoebox.
An empty shoebox at that.
Empty shoebox at that.
And they were pissed. Oh man.
Yeah, they were.
You know, CDC was pissed too. They're like, really? Really? I guess we gotta do it. Protocol. I think somebody was just taking empty boxes and put them in people's.
Somebody's probably pranking, man. That's all it is.
Oh my God! It's from China. It gotta be that virus.
The corona.
Quick contamination. Call the CDC. We all gonna die.
It might have been one of the people that was in the video because they knew he would overreact.
Yeah, it might have been.
Oh man! All right, that was a good show. That was an excellent show. I want to say thank you. We have closed out episode 9. One more episode, and we finally get to episode 10. Mr. Rokku, thank you once again for joining us, sir.
Yeah,
thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
So now it seems like only Two Beers has got to get his mic issue fixed.
Yep.
So, Mr. Rokku, please give our lovely audience all your contact information in case they want to reach out to you.
You can reach me at on Twitter at JU Nice Designs. On Instagram at J.U.Nice_designs. And you could also just check out some of my work at junice.artstation.com.
Good work, y'all. All right, good work.
Two Beards?
You can check me out on Instagram at Bitsaki. You can search Bitsaki or Scorpio Report on Twitter and find me there. I don't really say anything. I just retweet shit. So you want to waste your time looking me up on Twitter, go ahead. Same response from last time. As soon as I have some things that I'm working on up and available, I will let those sites be known as well. But yeah, feel free to shoot a message at me if you want. I'm an okay guy.
Yes, you are. And I am Khan, and you can reach me on Twitter. No, let me rephrase that. YouTube and Twitch. If you're watching it now on Twitch, make sure you hit that follow button up above to stay tuned. But yes, I am at Arn Games, ARNGM, and that's for YouTube and for Twitch. And then for Twitter is ARN Games, ARN Games, GAMES. And yes, I want to say thank you all for coming out. Wonderful show. We went well past an hour past what we were supposed to. I don't know. Our shows keep getting longer and longer. Hopefully, the audience likes it. If you don't like it,
that's premium content.
Yeah, if you don't like it, let us know. You know, maybe we'll shorten it for you. Maybe it's too long. I don't know. But thank you all for coming out. And yeah, good show. And one thing real quick for everybody who wants to listen to this. It will be late. So tomorrow I will not be editing this video. So we're going to be late on this episode coming out to all of our platforms, our streaming platforms. So it probably won't be out until Wednesday. Tomorrow is me anniversary. So
happy anniversary.
Yes, thank you. So I will not be doing anything except for pleasing my wife, as Terry Crews says, because she's the only woman that matters. Yeah, we won't be doing that. But Friday, I'll have something cooked up for Friday, and I'll talk to Two Beers offline about it. We might have a special show come up Friday because guess what? It's Valentine's Day. So we'll see. I'll talk to Two Beers and we'll see if we have something special. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to my guest, Mr. Rokku Dai. Thank you to Two Beards, my co-host. And thank you to everybody who came by. Listen, remember our show we film every Friday, 10 p.m. to whenever we get done. I know it's Saturday today, but we do film it every Friday. Subscribe to me for Twitter at Arn Games so you can keep up to date to our schedule. And hopefully you get to listen. You have a good weekend until we meet again. Remember, folks, shoot the shit, don't be shit. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.